I stan.
Hello, Adam Ryan Donato.
Hello, welcome back to another Hard Review, and I am here, of course, to talk about Wolfman. This is the latest reimagining from Universal of the famous Universal monster, Wolfman. I went back and I watched the original one for the first time, and I really enjoyed it. I actually found myself falling in love with a lot of these old classic Universal monster movies. Now, Wolfman wasn't one of my particular favorites, but he's obviously a very iconic character, and I had a lot of hope for this adaptation of the story because I love Leigh Whannell so much. Like, I like his movies way more than everyone else likes them. Whatever the average score for a Leigh Whannell movie is, I probably give it 1 star higher. So if you don't like this movie, or if you think I'm being too nice, just take a star off, and that's probably where it actually is. But Upgrade is one of my favorites. I think that's like a much better version of Venom. I love what he did with The Invisible Man, which gives me a lot of hope here. I like the more grounded, realistic, family drama, like personal drama type take on these classic Universal monsters. I think it's worked out pretty decently so far. It's hard to really judge the lasting impact of The Invisible Man because that was one of the movies that got cut short because of the COVID, because it came out, February of 2020. But I love that movie. This one I don't like as much. I think it is good. I think that it's a very predictable movie. Like, I found myself thinking, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen at the end of this. I know that this is going to be called back as this. I know this is going to be a reference to this. And I know this person's going to be this person, blah, 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 whatever type stuff. And I'm kind of torn on the subject because part of me is like, wow, I appreciate such a simple screenplay. And then other part of me is like, well, I kind of wish my expectations were subverted a little bit. And a lot of the scares do subvert my expectations. It's just the narrative at no point does that whatsoever, except maybe the final thing that happens in the movie. I was like, oh, I thought it would be kind of the opposite. But same kind of difference. This movie is pretty scary. Like, I really like the practical effects. I love how they communicated the experience of becoming the Wolfman, how it changes how you hear things, how you see your senses just in general. I thought it was really interesting because he would see things, like everything would be like blue, like you almost had like night vision. Things would be shiny, and the way that he had this like super hearing at this point. And then how he didn't understand the language, like all this kind of stuff I thought was really interesting. Very fresh take on the subject. The movie's very obviously about like mental health and how it passes on from generations to generations, and then this really is a very much so a family drama, very personal family drama, and that's one thing I actually really appreciated about the movie. While it is very like obvious what it's about, I mean the substance is equally as obnoxiously obvious about what it's about, but I do think the substance is a much better movie. It was just refreshing to have main characters that like I cared about. I really liked the dynamic between the little girl and her father, Christopher Abbott. I like Christopher Abbott's performance a lot. I wasn't crazy about Julia Garner's performance. I did really think that the little girl in the movie was adorable, and I really liked some of the things that she got to do in the film. I thought it was shot very well. I think that this does have a lot of good tense moments. It is pretty scary. The gore is... I'm a very squeamish person, so I was like... the entire time. In a good way. Like, this is the type of movie where you would want gore like that. I did notice in my research that Leigh Whannell co-wrote this with his wife, who was also in the Insidious movies, which makes me think, oh, this is like the whole thing that James Wan did with Malignant with his wife. So that kind of scares me a little bit, because one thing I really liked about Leigh Whannell is that he was a writer-director, so having someone else in that room. But hey, someone to keep him in check, and hey, maybe that this is a more personal story to Leigh Whannell than we know. He did say that this had influences from The Fly, which is a movie that I really love, and once I read that, I was like, yep, that really translates very well here. While I think the movie is a bit obvious and could be tightened up, and I think that the ending could have landed a little bit better, because once we got to the point where it was like, the Wolfman is after us, I was like, I kind of was enjoying a little bit more of exploring the dynamic of this family and like the personal relationships. But now it's the Wolfman time. I mean, it's called Wolfman, I understand, but that's when the movie got way more simpler, and I was just like, okay, when's it gonna be over? And it is a pretty short movie, actually. I'm too high on this. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. I liked it. I really liked it. It's probably gonna be my favorite movie of the year once I get to 10 movies on the year, because I've only seen like 2 or 3 at this point. It's already like my favorite one. I'll be really excited to see whatever Leigh Whannell does next. I don't want him to do do another one of these Universal small, grounded, realistic monster adaptations. But hopefully this does really well at the box office, and it was made for no money. Very clearly it was made for no money. So like, yeah, please go make a bunch of money and then take that money and go do something brand new that you want to do. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Why don't you guys tell me what your favorite Universal monster movie is? Mine is probably Dracula. I'm a good Todd Browning fan, but also I found myself really enjoying The Bride of Frankenstein. Like, Frankenstein was really good, and then I thought Bride of Frankenstein was gonna be like this like cash grab type of thing, and then I was like, whoa, this is actually like a really good movie.